Alright, let's try and start this off here. Let me know if the microphone's working. I just realised it never works unless I set it up again, and I've not actually done that yet. So if I'm muted, let me know. Let's jump over to this screen here as well for now. Absolutely roasting here right now. Can you hear me at all, RT? Because I just realised, is it working good? I just realised I didn't set up my mic, which I seem to need to do every time I actually kind of start a new stream, right? So we've got, I'll jump back to Twitter for a second here. What's a raid? I think it's just essentially going to be a complicated version of an Omega level threat. I've actually got some notes and so on from the meeting I had last night that adds a little bit additional context. Don't know if the blog's actually up yet. If it's not, let me just refresh this. If it's not, we've got a picture of the roadmap anyway. Update state of the game, here we go. Let's see if the roadmap's in here. I figured it would be easier to do this format, to be honest, for actually giving my general opinion on it. Right, there's no roadmap. Oh no, there we go. The roadmap, let me get it on screen, is here. So a little bit on the smaller side, but I'm not going to fart about with settings and end up cutting off the stream or anything like that. So, let me see. So obviously we've got August, where everything's launched. We know about all that already. September, you had Black Panther coming out. You had your community activities, your priority missions, your cargo runner, and your flashback. And then you go into fall stroke winter. This is what we were shown yesterday. Thankfully it matches exactly. There's been no changes or anything like that. Like the first time we get a look at our roadmap, it was slightly different what we actually seen. So we'll work through it all. Obviously, a lot of the creators were saying like temper your expectations and so on, and I think that's most definitely true. I felt pretty underwhelmed yesterday when I was seeing it, but I'll work my way through it. So you've got your returning events, you've got Corrupted Vibranium, your Red Room Takeover, Tachyon Anomaly, and Cosmic Threat, but they're events that have been in the game before, so for me they're not really news at all. Bonus XP weekends, nice little quality of life change, but nothing that interesting. And then you've got Confront Claw in our first raid. Now let me bring up my notes I've actually got. Take me a second to read through these because I was just jotting them down very quickly, but we've got some more information on the raid, nothing too specific, but let me read through the notes here. So let's see. So with the raid, I've got a ton of notes I jotted down. I believe now the power level is going to go up to 175 when it talks about the power cap increase. There will be ways to take the majority of your gear that you've already got up to 175. I think most definitely exotics, and they're looking at allowing that for, let me actually move this thing, see chat. They're looking at allowing that sort of work for legendaries and your rare gear as well. So that's your purple gear. They really need to do it for the legendaries as well, because in most instances legendaries are better than exotics, and I'd feel pretty salty if the only thing we could take to 175 in regards to the power level increase was actually gear that a lot of people don't actually like. But they did say they're looking at getting it working for legendaries as well. So if you've got a really nice Tachyon piece or whatever, you can take that up to 175. The way the raid's going to work as well, apologies if this is a little bit disjointed, but it's just the way I've got the notes here. The way the raid's going to work as well, they were saying that it will have two difficulties, normal and elite, which is actually really good because the Omega level threat, people find it too easy or too hard. So they've got two difficulties, and I believe one difficulty falls into your 150 to 160 power level, and then the second difficulty, which is called an elite raid, falls into the 160 to the 175 difficulty, and I think you potentially have to get your gear score up to that level before you can actually go in and do it. But that was some of the notes on the raid. Let's see if I've got anything else relating to that. I don't think I actually do in regards to the raid. They did say it would be completely unique. So it's not going to be like the family threat where that was just a regular level turned into an Omega level threat. This is going to be completely unique. They're calling it a raid because supposedly it's a lot bigger than the Omega level threats, and again it is unique content with unique bosses and so on. I imagine we'll probably go up against this large version of Claw, which would actually be pretty great. They were talking about as well, when I actually think about it, the mechanics aren't really going to be just about enemies doing more damage. They're going to be, I need to clean my glasses here, they're going to be about enemies giving you difficulty in different ways. What that is, I'm not quite sure. I'm hoping it's not meaning they're all going to have the Sonic effects, which is an absolute nightmare. But they were saying that, so they're not going to just ramp up the difficulty of all the enemies and have them hit harder. There's going to be other obstacles. What that means, I'm not quite sure. So that's a raid. That's everything I'm pretty sure we actually got from the raid. I'm missing chat a bit here, but apologies, just while I run through this and then I'll catch up with the chat. The new hero event, Spider-Man, PlayStation only. It's the only hero coming out with the roadmap, and this is why, for a lot of us, this was a massive disappointment. Like, Spider-Man was always going to be a bit of a kick in the nuts for people that weren't on PlayStation. To bring him out without another hero, I just can't fathom that's actually been done. We did ask about it, because we did raise concerns about it, and we were told, let me find my notes again here, there's not going to be a surprise hero, so don't expect Doctor Strange or War Machine to come out as a surprise, but we were told that the other platforms will not be dry when Spider-Man comes out. Quite what that means, I don't know, if it just means what we can see on the roadmap already, or there'll be some other things coming in, but for me that's a huge bummer. I think that's probably the biggest disappointment of the roadmap, as much as I do have a PlayStation 5 myself, is that I just think it's a really bad idea, bringing out Spidey and not bringing out another hero for other players. So yeah, that's Spidey. I think probably everyone would probably agree on that. I don't think it's too controversial an opinion to say that I think that was a bad idea not bringing out another hero. You've got new enemy types of echoes, it mentions, which is just below the Spider-Man event. Don't believe any has actually asked about that, and I actually meant to ask, but by the time I did it was too late, so I'm not quite sure what they are, unfortunately. Power level cap increase. I'll run over it just quickly once again for anyone that maybe has just joined the stream. So this will be tied in with the Claw raid. The power level cap will go up to 175. Now via gear, at the moment via gear, if you take out your major artifact, you're only going up to 140. So gear will take you to 165. And then your major artifact will give you that flat 10 to take you to 175. You have two versions of the raid, normal and elite, that will take you from 150 to 160 for normal, and then 160 to 175 for the elite. And let's see what else was there with the power level cap increase. I think, to be honest, that was probably it. They talked about certain currencies we're actually using that will help you hit that power level cap increase. So when the raid comes out, for example, and let's say the power level cap increase comes out in the same day, you won't actually be able to do the raid the same day. You'll need to work towards that power level cap increase, and I actually like that. That's what you would get in MMOs and so on, where they would bring out a new piece of content with a hard dungeon and you had to actually work your way up towards a dungeon. So for me, that's the kind of progression I actually like. You'll feel like you're working towards something. The power level cap number in the game, it just feels a bit like it's a bit useless, to be honest. Like, why did they pick 150? It doesn't mean anything, but with it increasing and being tied in with content, you need to get higher. That does make sense, so that's good. We have outfits inspired by the MCU, just down the bottom there. That's no big surprise there. I imagine we'll probably get the original Avengers movie, because we have Captain America so far. And then you've got reworked systems, so it's mentioned resources. With the resources, we were told the general idea is that all resources will have one purpose, whereas at the moment your fragments, for example, are like multi-purpose. Although saying that, I've got something that contradicts it in the next note. It says fragments will be for everything, but generally they're trying to keep the resources so they have one purpose. So you have your polychorons for upgrading your major artifacts. They're looking to do that, for example, so a certain currency will have a very defined use. Fragments will be used for everything. That's why we're actually seeing the fragment boosters that are coming in the store free at the moment. They didn't mention anything about that changing in future. And let's see. Upgrading your gear would takes at the moment upgrade modules, but it's going to take fragments as well to actually do that. They're actually going to, in fact, this is a good one that I don't think we mentioned anywhere. They're actually going to convert a lot of excess currencies we aren't actually using at the moment. So they're going to do away with them and they're going to convert them into fragments, because fragments will be like the universally held currency. So you've got that. And then let's actually see. I think in regards to your resources, that gear upgrading is in there. I can't remember anything too specific on it, because if they were specific enough to say something like there's a crafting system coming, then that was something I would most definitely remember. But with the gear upgrading, as far as I'm aware, I think that's just really tied in with the fact they're increasing the power level, so your gear can actually go up as well. Hopefully there's maybe another creator that's got a bit more information on it and I missed out on it. But for me, gear upgrading, I don't know what to read into that. I can't really recall anything that specific they actually told us about it, and there was nothing that made me excited being a gear guy at all. You've got the Disney Plus Hawkeye nameplate challenge there, and it's just fluff to be honest. And then earnable cosmetics, which is actually funny. I was thinking about it earlier on. We had earnable cosmetics in game before. That was the cosmetic vendor, so I don't know if that just means they're coming back. But it's quite funny to see a system on the roadmap. It was one that we had and it was actually taken away. That's the roadmap, so general takeaways from it. Looks like the main focus is going to be on the Claw Raid. It's not enough content for the next 4 months. No chance, not at all, especially with the fact there's only one hero. That's kind of the main point. The roadmap for me, the main sticking point, is that other consoles should have got a hero at the same time. And even if they had to drop them in without any cutscenes or story or anything and just have it the little profiles you get in game where you hear some voices and so on, if they would have done that or some elevator conversations and dropped in War Machine alongside it, it would have made this roadmap look a lot better. But it looks alright if you're on PlayStation, but if you're not on PlayStation, it's not looking good at all. But let me quickly read through the chat here, and then what we can do is we can actually read the State of the Game blog as well. So let's have a little look here. It's the only new character coming as Spider-Man, PS exclusive, that won't sit well. Yep, definitely covered that already. Yeah, you get the first look of Spidey. You can see him under Claw's chin. Yeah, the Spider-Man section is really small, that they're trying not to highlight it. That's RT that was saying that there. I'm on Xbox, so that sucks. I 100% agree with you. Spider-Man getting released about a month or two down the road for other platforms. No, he's not coming to other platforms at all. Not going to happen. Let me keep looking here. I can definitely see them making Spider-Man a DLC for Xbox from Hugh Heavens. That's not going to happen, Hugh, mate. Sorry to say. Let's see. Looking pretty dry from Master Me. I agree with you, mate. High quality 4K captures. Big fan of the game, but I'm really disappointed in the roadmap. I feel the same. Not even a villain sector. Yeah, I'm hoping stuff like that was missed out. I was really surprised there was no Crossbones villain sector. There was no Wakanda faction with an artifact behind it. Something to actually grind there. Let's keep reading down the chat here. Once we catch up, we'll then go through the actual blog. No cloning labs. Cloning labs was asked about, to be honest. I'm not sure who it was. I'm trying to remember. Maybe High Ruler potentially, or maybe Bob that asked about cloning labs, and they were just told it was all hands on deck with the Claw Raid. But we did actually ask about that in the meeting we had with them. Oh, and the one thing I should say, and somebody mentioned it, yeah, no patrol mode. So patrol mode pushed to 2022. Now, the only hope I can have with them actually pushing it is that I talked about patrol mode when I was on the FKNA podcast. It was a real good time, really enjoyed it, but I was talking about the patrol mode and saying it has to be drop in, drop out co-op, and it has to be a minimum of maybe 6 or 8 heroes in a map, so we can only hope they're trying to actually work towards that. But if we need to wait for 2022 for patrol mode and it comes out with no drop in, drop out co-op and only 4 players, then I don't think they should even bother with the mode, to be honest. But yeah, no patrol mode there. So that was interesting. Let's keep reading through the messages here. Yeah, no patrol mode or cloning labs. Those are supposedly done, aren't they? I don't know what's happening with the cloning labs, Brian, because it was a year ago somebody actually played through it and finished it. So I really don't know what the deal is with that at all. They didn't tell us a month for Spider-Man releasing, Kevin, but he will release sometime this year. So look, you got the Spider-Man movie in December, so it would make sense to tie it in with that. No re-roll system yet. I was talking about the gear upgrade in there, and I can't remember them being too specific, but if they would have mentioned a crafting system, it's something that really would have stood out for me. It's something I feel they really need. So that, for me, being a gear junkie, is definitely on the disappointing side. Expected 4 heroes. I want what you're smoking, Gentry. Time for winter hibernation, it looks like it, to be honest. The Fabricator's in Wakanda, but no new Fabricator skins. Yep, I definitely agree with that. more like a work in progress. It's probably true, to be honest, rather than a roadmap. Let's catch up with chat. It's actually quite a lot of messages. Apologies. I'll maybe go through them. Let me just scroll through them really quick here. No patrol mode, Smooth Goose. Right, what I'm going to do, I don't think I'm going to catch up. Oh, there we go. We're at the chat. It's Walter White. Yeah, I had a lot of fun on Twitter today with that thread. So I'm doing an AMA of sorts on Twitter and I'm having a bit of fun. Sometimes I like to do that. So I can be a bit too serious at times. So feel free to drop by that and hopefully we'll have a bit of a laugh. But let's see. So Cloning Labs patrol mode, fixing stuff that's broken. The main thing really on your roadmap is your claw raid. So it has to be exceptional considering it's all we're really getting for 4 months. You've got Spidey as well, but obviously it is only one platform. But let me now go into the actual state of the game blog. There could be more in here. This is why rather than doing a video exclusively on the roadcap and not having all the information, I wanted to actually read it out on stream and go through it here. So let's break it down. There probably will be a lot of fluff. If something's looking like it's just pure fluff, I'll quickly read the section and jump past it here. So a year ago we embarked on a journey, blah 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 blah. Yep, that's just fluff there. I'm hoping there's not too much of that. A year of heroes, it's been rewarding. Yeah, it's just telling you all about the stats and so on. None of that really interesting. I don't really want to know how many hunter crawlers have taken out. Right, a year of growing, let's see what it says. I'm really hoping in it this state of the game blog isn't just fluff and it tells us what the plan is going forward for 2022. Even if it's not specific, it really needs to have some kind of plan. So let's see. So they opened a new studio. Hello Crystal Southwest. Continue to refine the work from home environments. I think they really need to get an office. Obviously it's safety first, I'll say that 100%. Safety first. I'm not going to say they need to get an office and put their lives at risk over a bloody game and anything like that, but if they can do it safely, I think getting in the office is really the answer, because they were saying it's something like it's 5 times slower to do anything from home. So let's see. There we go. They're saying in mid-June we had a limited soft reopening of our studios as a trial run for 1 day. I'm not sure much would have happened there. Alas, as conditions have changed at each of our locations, we've adjusted the plans and extended working for home into early next year and beyond. It is one of the things though, safety first. This is just a game at the end of the day. Yes, I would like it to be better. Yes, I would like more content, but I don't want anyone risking their life over a game or anything like that. So yeah, get in the studio as soon as you can, but get in as soon as it's safe as well. So they're in the middle of a uniquely challenging task, finding the best way to support hybrid work from... Sounds like they kind of know that working from home isn't efficient, to be honest. Let's see. I'm not going to read it out word for word. I'm just going to go through the more interesting parts here. Right, so talking about the first state of the game update, we identified 4 key areas of impact and have worked against them continuously. This will be interesting to actually read to see if they have actually made progress on these 4, if they've been the kind of core tenets they've been aiming for. So performance and stability. We've greatly improved stability and squash bugs with near weekly patches since launch, and we feel the successful launch of War for Wakanda illustrates their ongoing commitment to quality. We also brought Marvel's Avengers to next-gen consoles loaded with upgrades for no additional cost. Next-gen allowed for even more performance improvements, included updated visuals, improved destruction and detail, and significantly faster load times. While overall stability is strong, we know there are still some remaining bugs that distract from play experience, and we're shifting even more attention to them in the near future. That kind of sounds fair enough. The game has improved, but without a doubt, you get your head buried in the sand if you're saying it's bug free or anything like that. And we've got some of the same bugs that just keep persisting. Like Hawkeye with Locked On has just not been working since he came out. He's targeting feet and the timer doesn't work. So yeah, I think you need to give them the fact that they've made some progress, but there's definitely a lot of progress still to be made in regards to bugs. Let's have a look at multiplayer matchmaking. In addition to improving the stability of this critical feature, we made it our goal to allow players to matchmake with a larger pool, so that was your tacky on. We've done this through incentivising online play with content like the daily quick match XP reward. Let's see what else. We've also added quality of life features that aid in online communication, such as a ping system. Improved matchmaking and the multiplayer experience is something that we'll continue working on in the future. I don't do multiplayer myself because I'm pretty antisocial, to be honest, at the end of the day. So let me know if you're playing multiplayer yourself, how you're getting on with that. Is it actually better than what it was? I have heard people still having trouble with the Omega level threat, where they get kicked from it, so I can't comment on that too much for myself. I'll catch up with chat when I can as well. I just want to work through the blog here first. So rewards. Tuning rewards is an ongoing effort for Marvel's Avengers as we're constantly evaluating game telemetry, I'll try and say that, and online feedback. This has come in the forms of guaranteed exotic drops through specific mission types to add in new elements to the game, such as a cargo runner Synfoid. We've also spiced up our cosmetics with animated nameplates, and we've begun offering free items in the marketplace to show appreciation for players. That's not really... Rewards is all about loot. It's a looter style game, to be honest. There should be a lot more emphasis on that rather than talking about animated nameplates and free items in the marketplace. And we might get exotics more often, but exotics are still underwhelming. There needs to maybe even be a tier above exotics, and this is a tier that can potentially drop anywhere in game. Because something I'll mention here is one of the things that when you have a looter, you're playing a looter game, right? You're playing Diablo, and you have a piece of gear that drops, and you see that glow, and you hear the noise, and you see it in your map. We don't have this with exotics because exotics don't drop in game, so you never get that element when you're actually playing a game where you get that exciting drop. It reminds me a bit of an older game, but Too Human, when you used to get your red drops in that, and you would hear like Angel's trumpet, and when that happened and you seen it in game, you were really excited. We're missing that. We maybe need another tier of gear that can drop anywhere in game. You'll see it visually, and when you see it, you'll get excited and be like, oh my god, what have I got? And it needs to be something really unique as well. Like examples I've gave before, like let's say it's an Iron Man specific piece of gear and it's got a perk to summon War Machine or something like that. So when you see that drop, you're going to be absolutely over the moon about it. They need something like that because exotics just ain't it, even if you increase how often we can get them. Looking into late game content, before I read this, they have made progress. When I logged into the game recently, there's a lot to do, but all the things you do don't give you good rewards, and that's your problem. There's a mega level threat, there's a Monica villain sector. They're all actually pretty decent content, but the rewards aren't there. So it's no point having all this late game content if it's not rewarding you. But let's read what they say. So with this here, content for our highest level players is and continues to be a major area of focus for us in Avengers. We made refinements to existing content to make it more challenging and rewarding with even higher global stakes. If that's the mega highs, I don't really rate what was done with that, to be honest. They just kind of stopped you going in with AI, and that was it. Not much change. But content offering fresh challenges and complex combat that requires tactical thinking for advanced players, including the beaten odds villain sector featuring the Science Supreme and the Cosmic Cube. So once again, there is a lot of content there, but we need better rewards for that actual content. The Monica boss fight's pretty good. I think they've fixed the bugs now where you can shrink her and so on, so they need to get rid of stuff like that. But next up here, customizable harm rooms.
Howdy, partner.
There we go. I don't see that come up anywhere though. There we go, Wayne. Appreciate the subscription there, Wayne. Let's see. Customizable harm rooms have allowed for a personalised and if desired punishing training experience with modifiers like enemy types and buffs. We've seen players use customizable harm rooms to slow down and learn strategies for new heroes, as well as challenge themselves with a punishing gauntlet for the heroes they've mastered. I actually really like the customizable harm rooms. I would like to have the option of having maybe robots and so on that didn't move, and maybe a timer, or throw bosses in there and have a timer and leaderboards as well, so you can go in and you can really try out your build, and if there's leaderboards then it'll get you in and playing that. Now, the addition of multiplayer to Mega Hives has allowed for more tactical team runs. It's not really changed much for me, to be honest. So let's see. So it's talking about the Mega level threats. Requires full 4-player strike teams at power level 145 to visit. We've seen some insane Super Adaptoid runs and have enjoyed community members assisting us and completing it as a team. I've only ever ran it once, and I ran it on stream and we bet him in 20 seconds. And then when I seen the loot I got, I've had no inclination to go back and play it again. So that's the problem I was talking about a second ago, where you can have good end-game content, or potentially good end-game content, but it needs to be rewarding, otherwise what's the point in running it? So yeah, I've only done the Super Adaptoid once, the day it came out, but it was a pretty good run. We done it in like 25 minutes or something. But next up here, all of this has been happening in parallel with a ton of story and hero releases. So talking about Kate Bishop, War for Wakanda, blah de blah de blah. Let's move on. Fan requests have also guided our content strategy. Being able to replay the campaign. Still not done that. I would probably do it if you could dip in and you could choose specific missions, but I don't want to restart it and have to play 6 hours of Miss Marvel before I can actually play the other missions. Let's see, so they're reducing the mega hives as well, which they've done. Changes to the UI. If you follow me on Twitter, you're on the Discord, I absolutely hate the UI. I hate it with a passion. It's 50% of it is it's just really source based, to be honest, which I don't begrudge them, I will say, because we need money for the game to actually survive. But it's the fact that loot is spread over 4 different tabs, maybe even more tabs now, maybe 5 tabs. And there was someone in my Discord, Crix, he calculated it that with the UI changes, if you're looking to change 4 gear pieces, it went from, I think it was maybe 1 screen and 6 or 7 clicks to something like 7 screens and 19 clicks to actually do it. So not a fan of the UI at all. Yeah, I'm really not. The first page I don't have a massive problem with. I would like to see them maybe remove the challenge card once you complete it. It shouldn't be slap bang in the middle there when you can finish it quite early. But yeah, so that's the UI, and that's my rant on it. Now let's have a look. A year of learning. Past year has taught us so much. Hopefully it has. The North Star for development team for the last several months has been delivering the best version of Wakanda. Wakanda was great. Black Panther was great. It just didn't have loot, and it didn't have an end game loop to actually keep people around. So yeah, it's like their heroes and their stories always going to be good, but I don't know if they get a lot of return on investment for actually keeping players logging in with something like that. Like Wakanda took months to do, and players are dropping off already, or they dropped off really quick. I've hardly played for the last 2 weeks, to be honest. But that's Wakanda there. So in the upcoming months, we plan to rework and improve many of the game's systems to make it rewarding to play on an ongoing basis. That's good. That's what we need. At the same time, we're looking at how people are playing and analysing what works and what we could do better. Let's just scroll past this here. Actually, here's a roadmap. We've already covered the roadmap there. I won't go over that again because we spent a fair amount of time on it. So we've just rolled out 2 new permanent quests that reward players with resources for regular play in the Avengers initiative. So that's your quests that give you your fragments. I was talking about how fragments will be used for everything going forward. So that's going to be the main currency. And then let's see, you will have other currencies that are used as well, but they'll be used alongside fragments. This month we'll be focusing on in-game community activities. They've really not done much for the anniversary. The Iron Man skin we got, and I can't even remember what else it was we got, but they've not done much for the anniversary. So let's see. From September the 2nd to the 16th, we'll reward players who log in and complete the story. We know about that. The nameplate you get there. We'll also roll out free in-game community activities in September, priority rush missions, so you can do them daily, which is good. And then you've got the Cargo Runner Synthoid, which is coming up. You've got your MCU skin for Black Panther. We're getting towards the bottom of this blog and there's not much about the future in it. Let's see. So this part here, system reworks. Hopefully this will be where there's a bit more meat, because there's not been much so far. So improved gear upgrading, more rewarding gear, more late game focused gear. We hear you. With the upcoming power level increase, we want to make sure players can keep their hard earned gear as they progress. In a way, I would kind of wish they didn't allow us to do this. Controversial, but if they didn't and they brought out new tiers of gear, then we could just leave the damage buff behind and just move away from it. And I know not everyone's going to like that, but that's how personally I feel about the damage buff. We're just too reliant on it. You have to get it above everything else, and it's just simply too powerful. So I would like if they moved away from it, but yeah, I realise not everyone's going to agree with that one. But the new system will allow players to upgrade epic, legendary and exotic gear from power level 100 all the way to the new power level cap. So that's additional to what we were actually told. We were told they were working on it, so it looks like they've got that in place. As we continue improving gear, we're also taking a look at hero gear set, where it's obtained and how to improve clarity around you. So we'll have more details about it in a future blog, so hopefully we'll make them a bit better. Give me 1 second here, somebody's saying something about an internet issue. It's not to do with the stream or anything at all, is it? Is it all running alright, the stream? Apart from the fact I'm really tired and really sweaty right now. I think it is. Let me know if there's any issues with it. But that is your gear. So resources, we're currently working towards a more streamlined and focused approach to resources. In this new system, each resource will have a single specific purpose to help improve clarity. That's what we were told, and we were given an example of polychorons and major artifacts. Fragments will be the sole exception, as they will remain a resource of multiple uses. So stock up on your fragments now if you can. Earnable cosmetics, let's see what this actually says, because we had them before. So we're adding ways to earn cosmetics through gameplay, including items that were previously only available in the marketplace. So that's interesting. Depends what ones it is. If it's the gamma skins, I'm not sure. But yeah, they're going to add that. We'll talk about the details of those systems in the coming months as they are added to the game. So cosmetic rework, by the sounds of it, is still months off, unfortunately. Okay, no worries. Cheers, Brian. Right, let's have a look here. So the Claw Raid, discordant sound and power level cap increase, whatever that means. We're also polishing our first raid, and they did make kind of a lot of point about the fact that a raid's different from an Omega level threat, so it's going to be another level up from Omega level threats. Supposedly nothing we've seen so far, but we'll see. So we're also polishing our first raid, available in both standard. Yeah, I've covered that. Power levels and elite, which will offer a conclusion to Claw's story for War for Wakanda. This will be the most challenging content yet, meant to not only test the mastery of each hero, but also the well-built 4-player strike teams out there. Collaboration and observation, if I can say it right, are crucial to beating this one. I really like the idea there's a standard and an elite version of the raid. That's perfect, because the mega level threat, I mentioned it before, it was too hard and it was too easy for most people. So this is good. This is a positive change, bringing in tiers of content. They should perhaps even use, they've got 4 challenge tiers for content. Start using that again and offer better gear as you go up the tiers. The system is in the game, but this is an improvement anyway, having the tiers. The Claw Raid features custom crafted levels, new threats. I think they actually talked about new villains potentially in the Claw Raid, if I can remember right. But new threats that require complex and tactical combat, and stronger enemy variety themed to the villain being faced. New enemies called Echoes, here we go, that's in the roadmap. Sound constructs created by Claw have been created and tailored exclusively for this experience. I wonder if that's going to be like the robots, I can't remember what they're called, but the ones that teleport about and they're a pain in the ass to hit. It sounds like it might be like them. But if the power level increased to 175, yielding more compelling drops, it's a notable example of replayable and rewarding content that fits our mantra going forward. When you're playing the elite raid, it has to have incredible exotics. It can't be anything like the stuff we get from doing the mega level threat. It has to be incredible, it has to be game changing, it has to be tactical strikes from space with Iron Man, or a chance for that to happen on your gear. You get stuff like that. It really does. But let's see. So celebrating the Marvel Universe. One of the things we love most, or let me see, I'm struggling here, I've just finished a 10-hour shift. One of the things we most love about working on Marvel's Avengers is our opportunity to celebrate exciting new content. So it's talking about the Disney Plus nameplate for Hawkeye that's coming. Events. Between larger game updates, we'll be bringing back limited time events. They need better rewards for the events. They need something to grind towards as well. They need, like, I always felt in events we get a currency that actually drops. You don't use that currency for anything. Whereas if they made it, there was certain, let's say there was a vendor and they had vibranium gear or whatever, and you would get currency via the corrupted vibranium event, and you could go in each day and the vendor would reset and you could see a list of gear you could actually buy. That's what they should be doing with events. That would get people grinding away on them. As it is with the events, you log in and some of them you'll finish them in about 3 or 4 hours, and then that's you done, and the event runs for 2 weeks. Now, I mentioned Spider-Man. They clearly don't really want to talk about him being right at the end, one paragraph. Finally, there will be a new playable hero with a hero event starring Spider-Man in 2021, only on PlayStation platforms. We'll have more information on Spider-Man closer to launch. And then let's see. We have many plans beyond this most recent roadmap update that stretch into late winter and beyond, including addressing long-standing asks, the quality of life improvements to new heroes, villains and more. We'll also provide updates on patrol mode and a mega level threat, cloning labs when we have concrete news to share. And then let's see the little end bit here. Thank you for taking the time to digest all this. Blah blah blah. Yeah, there's not a massive amount in there, to be honest. If I actually go right up to the top here, apologies if this is a bit strange in the eyes. So we had just a recap here. We had progress they'd made on the 4 pillars they were aiming for. A bit more of a recap, but then you had the roadmap here, and I think it just really covered the rest of this just really covered what was in the roadmap, to be honest. Let me bring up my notes again. I'll quickly read through them. We're not going to do too long a stream. I was just mainly intending this as a live impressions in a way rather than a full stream, because I didn't want to do a video based on just the roadmap. I was hoping the blog post or the state of the game post would have a lot more, but it isn't really adding a great deal. Let me have a quick look here and see what we have. Anything that was perhaps missed out there? I don't think there actually was. So we were told about the Chlorade. It'll be a unique level and boss and mini boss. Don't know if unique will classify just a maybe crossbones using a different weapon or something like that, but that's what they said. You've got your resource rework where they're going to. They didn't mention it in the blog, but they'll be taking away or they'll be retiring some older resources and then actually converting them to fragments where they actually do that, and then they may bring them back at a later date. Imagine that'll be the ones you get that are a different colour, and everyone's sitting on about 1,000 of them or 10,000, however much it is they actually cap out at. And then they're looking to create a daily loop. They mentioned that. I'll mention about Spider-Man again because we specifically asked. They said other platforms will not be dry when Spider-Man comes out. Don't know if that means additional to what's on the roadmap, like the raid or what, but they did say there will be no surprise hero as well. They were flat out about saying that, so that's not going to happen. So don't go hoping that Doctor Strange or War Machine is going to come when Spider-Man comes out. That's just not going to happen at all. Now, let me quickly work my way through chat and then we'll wind up pretty soon, to be honest. But if anyone's got any questions, go ahead. I've missed all this chat, so apologies, but I was having to read out the blog. Let's see. I think Spider-Man will release in December alongside the movie. That would make sense. A roadmap that's not a roadmap. It doesn't really feel like a roadmap, does it? Like the way the last one did. Reminds me of Marvel Heroes development style, honestly. Blame me. I'm clearly cursed. There's no point to grind endgame activities as there's no exciting loot to earn. I completely agree. Like I said, like when you log in now, when you go to your page, it shows you all your different missions. There's a ton of different missions there, and there's actually a decent amount to do each day if you got decent rewards from them. So for me, the hardest part is surely creating the content, whereas adding rewards, which is perks. I'm not a programmer, but adding perks and so on to gear to make it more interesting is surely going to be a lot easier than creating brand new content. So that's something I think they really, really need to focus on. I don't know if you can tell how much I'm sweating here. This is something like the warmest day in Scotland in the last 135 years. It's insane. For September, I am absolutely melting. I really am. Right there. Got a little fan to cool myself down a bit. Right, let me let me continue reading through here. I don't know if there's anything we've not really covered, to be honest. I think we have covered most. Yeah, I think that's maybe us. Let me just see if there's anything new there from a second ago. How excited am I for cloning labs? Not really. Although if it gave good loot, at the end of the day I'm a loot guy. I'm willing to put up with subpar gameplay if I can get good loot at the end of it. So it all depends on the loot. The link for the roadmap, I don't have a link here, but it'll be on Twitter. It'll be available there. Spider-Man a timed exclusive. As far as I'm aware, he's 100% exclusive. He's not going to come to the other platforms. Yeah, I think it's just Spider-Man chat from here. So I mentioned again earlier on, for a bit of fun, I was bored. I started and asking me anything on Twitter where I'm giving some brutally honest responses to stuff, and a lot of responses I'm just having a bit of fun and playing around with people and stuff like that and having a laugh. So if there's anything that you were maybe wanting to ask here and you didn't get the opportunity to do it, feel free to drop by on Twitter and ask me in that particular thread. It's been a bit of a laugh so far. I like to have a bit of fun sometimes with people. I can be a bit too serious, but I'm having a bit of fun with that thread. I think maybe that's it. I know we've got a ton of people here right now, but I'm absolutely sweating. I just finished a 10-hour shift, and this stream really was just to give my initial reactions to the blog. If you like this format of stream, let me know in the comments of the VOD when it actually goes live and what I can maybe do each Thursday, if we get an interesting enough blog, I can actually just quickly live stream it. So let me know if you would like to do that, and then you're getting my thoughts where I've not had, I don't know, I've not had a lot of time to actually think about them, so I don't know if it makes my thoughts more honest or what. But if you like that particular format, then do let me know. But with that, I think I'm going to go, because once again, I'm going to melt if I don't. It is absolutely boiling. But cheers for this, everyone. Let me know in the comments below if you've got any questions I missed, and jump past the thread on Twitter, because we're having an absolute blast there as well. And in fact, I'll say, in regards to Avengers, I do actually appreciate all the patience you have showed recently. There's not been a lot to cover on Avengers. I'm not purposely not doing content for it or anything like that. Can you still hear the sound now? Hopefully you can. I'm not purposely not doing content for Avengers or anything like that, but there's simply nothing to really cover at the moment, and I'm really enjoying Marvel Future Revolution. I will be covering both games. There will be periods where I'll be covering more of one game and less of another. Like when Wakanda came out, I was absolutely caning the videos for Avengers, whereas with Future Revolution, just the global launch coming recently, I'm absolutely caning that at the moment, and I'm really enjoying it. I would say check it out. It's got the usual pay-to-win bullshit you have in mobile games, but if you're a Marvel fan, you can ignore all that. Ignore the PvP, play it for the PvE. There's a ton of good Marvel stuff in there that you will actually enjoy. But yeah, so the channel will be, it's just going to be a mix of Future Revolution and Avengers going forward. I'm not going to neglect one over the other, and then I might have a little look at Guardians game and Midnight Suns going forward as well. But yeah, I'll wind up now, because I think that is everything covered, and I'm absolutely knackered. So cheers everyone, have a good one, and I'll see you all later.